All right, guys.
We made it.
Only 2 tries tonight. That's a that's a step in the right direction. So we're here with Captain Nick Long.
Check 1 2.
We're in the camper. Chats on the road. Oh, it's been a frustrating 30 minutes trying to get this going. This is what happens when Kelsey's not around. Again,
We need
like,
the IT chick.
yeah, no, got our mini mics again. But Lindsay's here. I didn't think Lindsay was gonna be here, so we got someone to a second eye on comments and stuff like that, which will be good. But
I'm gonna be on cat duty the whole. Get off the fucking counter. Excuse my language. Damn kids.
So yeah, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm gonna turn you. You know, you guys have done these enough to know we're just gonna wing it as
We fly
go.
by the seat of our pants at all times. She had like a necklace thing.
All right, there we go. I wish we could start it over, but it's gonna. Yeah. I think we fixed it. All right. How many we got watching? How many people are we stressing? Are we pissing off already? 18. Okay.
18 people are pissed.
18 of you are okay for hanging out. I'm sure half of you aren't even really paying attention yet, anyways. All right, let's start this. So we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the USA Cycling Camp. We're here 2 weeks early for the Legacy Nationals. Nick Long and I were asked to be a part of the prep camp for national champs coming up for the USA Cycling program. We've been trying to do one of these chats for a while, but as much as we are around each other, it's hard to find.
Yeah, when it's about 8:30, it's time to hang it up and get to bed. We don't.
Yeah, it really is.
It happens to be Friday night, so it works out with no race tomorrow.
Yeah, so who knows how long this is going to go. We got no schedule on this one. Last one with the Chase team. We obviously had a few riders. We didn't get through all of them, but yeah, it's good. It's good to get one with you, though. We've been trying to get this one for a while now. So the chats are open. You guys can leave comments if you want to ask Nick something direct. Lindsay's back there watching, so she can relay the message. Look how crooked this thing is again. Can you hear it?
Oh, that's hard. We gotta hold up to the mic.
Okay. Hold on. All right.
Talk to your mics. Is there a better way than to wing it?
No, we're just winging it. You know, we try to figure this thing and we try to figure it out, but just too much time on the road. We just don't have time to actually sit down. It's either editing videos or filming videos, and then we get an opportunity. We're like, oh, let's do a live, let's do a chat. And at the end of the day, all you guys got to do is hear us talk anyways, right? You don't really need to see how it looks. So if you get a crooked frame, so be it. You
just tilt your head a little bit.
Yeah. It is what it is. And I completely overestimated bringing the lights and everything in Nick's camper.
Oh my god. You gotta knock it off, buddy. I love you too. Come on. Go. In the back.
Look at his tail, man. So yeah, Nick Long. We'll start with you've been on the road almost 2 years.
Almost
now.
2 years, yeah. October
Living in the
2021.
camper. Coming from a SoCal life, which I want to get into because that's what I got into with Joris. That's what I like about these. We can actually talk about things. We can share a side of pros that I feel like people don't actually get to see, you know, from different, I know you've heard me talk about it before, like we come from such different backgrounds and different lifestyles growing up, and so it's cool to hear different sides here. And Jarvis is in the last one, coming from France and stuff, so we'll get into that with you. But yeah, like we were saying, on the road for almost 2 years now. How's that been?
It's been awesome, honestly. I mean, I'm sure I've answered this question plenty of times on other podcasts. And Kevin, you're a nightmare. But no, it's been awesome. I get to do this with my wife. You know, when I started doing clinics and, and tapering down my race career, I was on the road forever. Would do 3 to 6 week trips, and then I would come home and she'd be working, so we wouldn't really get to spend time together. So when we kind of came up with this plan to get to do it together, it was a bit of a leap of faith on her end. you know, she'd been cutting hair for almost 20 years and, you know, was making her own money, doing her own thing. And so she kind of, like I said, took a leap of faith and trusted in me that we could get this done and be able to put gas in the tank and food in our bellies the whole time. And so far it's worked out. It's been a, you know, an awesome adventure. Not another person I'd probably could tolerate spending time on the road this long. So I'm blessed and happy to be able to do this with somebody like her every time.
You say her trusting. I think I heard you say that in another one, like her trusting you to go on this adventure, right? Like you're like, well, obviously the captain, right? But you run the show, you run the ship, right? And
Kind of, yeah.
but it's not a lifestyle we live. It's not a lifestyle you lived before here. It's not a lifestyle I lived before I left. And I only say that because I feel like we both stepped into this adult role around the same time, even that it wasn't the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all kind of comes back like, yeah, you're steering the ship, right? Like you're in charge of it
like
all.
it ironically kind of turned into that. You know, I got the backtrack to getting the nickname when I worked with Sam for a little bit. You know, it just kind of worked. And like in the scenario, me training with him, I was the guy who set everything up, and so yeah, I was like the team captain doing all that. But then the name just kind of transferred and into what we're doing now, and like I mean, it kind of worked. Life. I'm the captain of this ship, you know, and then it's cool that it kind of worked out that way, and then also the nickname just in the sport too.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No, you should be good.
I think it just kind of translates well into the sport too, being into a coaching role. You know, just kind of worked out.
No, it fits. It fits. This is just like being just adulting all together. It just it falls into place. What made you get into doing clinics? What made you want to think I'm going to do clinics? I'm going to hit the road because I never saw you really do clinics beforehand. You know, and being in California, you don't see them as often as like other areas,
mm-hmm.
and maybe you don't see that how I see it. But what made you want to hit the road and start doing? Like, I'm gonna start doing clinics.
You know, it was just, you know, getting towards the later end of my career, trying to figure out what to do in the sport to not so much stay relevant because results wasn't something I was ever chasing. It was, I think I strive to be kind of respected in the sport. And so it was, what can I do now to stay being respected or, you know, looked upon highly. And I never wanted to teach clinics. I hated feeling like parents would just drop people off and pay me money for them to like hang out with me. I didn't like that. I didn't like feeling like I was taking their money and unless I had a good program, in which I didn't beforehand. So I never had interest in doing it. And I also didn't learn that way when I was a kid. I might have done like 2 clinics ever when I was a kid, maybe 1 super camp. I helped out Berlin a little bit when I was like a better amateur, but I had to figure out a way to continue on with the sport without, you know, begging sponsors to pay me. And I liked earning my way, and I felt like once I came up with a good routine that was helpful and beneficial to anybody that gets on the track, I was happy to, you know, hop on the road and share it. But like I said, I didn't want to just go and be like, hey, I'm Nick Long, come hang out with me for $50. You know, I wanted to be able to sell something.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I was just curious. I never really asked you that question, and because I grew up around it. Like I grew up with Style Man always cruising around. Yeah. Style Man would always stay at my parents' house when they ran the track, and so I always saw it as a way to, they're living the dream on BMX, right? Living out of a little van, and
I guess it was. Sorry to interrupt. But now thinking back to, like, I can't think of clinics being that regular back like on the West Coast where I was from either.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting.
I remember seeing them, and like you'd see the one here and there, like pre-national one. But thinking back to like California, there was, or maybe it just wasn't like you know how we promote really well now. Maybe it was more like that. Yeah. But yeah, I don't recall seeing a lot of clinics being. I mean, it's abundant now.
Yeah.
But which is good. I mean, there's so many BMX racers, that I mean anybody could. I hate that there. No, I don't hate. There are some people that maybe don't need to be coaches just yet, and you got to work towards it. But I think at the end of the day, if you could share some sort of knowledge that's going to benefit one rider, then go for it. It don't matter. So I think it's good that there is an abundance of helpers nowadays.
Yeah, I agree.
No
There's enough.
clinic, coaching,
Yeah.
Or else, it seems like a lot of kids back would just get into the sport, not get discouraged out there because they're whatever, not fast enough, don't know really the reins of the sport.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that there's more help and coaching and clinics and stuff out there nowadays.
And there's enough tracks around the country that
So many tracks.
you can't hit all of them. I can't hit all of them. And I mean, I know you get them too, all the emails for the tracks. So you're like, man, it is.
Hey man, you're only 10 minutes away from here. Come on over to a clinic. You're like,
are the ones that are up in a state. I'm like, man, that's like 3 states away from anything I'll even be near.
Yeah.
And then you want to say yes, right? Because you want to help
hard.
everyone, but it's like, man, that's a lot of work just going in that direction of the country. And because I started, you obviously hit them so much more than I do, but now I'm like, okay, I got to designate a one trip this way, and that's it for this year.
Yeah.
All right, then this year I'm going to go this direction. And
and last year before I was working with Haro, I was more inclined to be like, oh, I can go to that one. Oh, it's only 2 hours of the way, and I wouldn't even care about like driving back and forth like this. It was just like, oh yeah, I can go do it, and like hop in. Now like working with Haro, and it's not so much just because it's Haro, it's just I gotta be at these races, and it's like I don't want to go 6 hours out of the way. Weather doesn't look great, so I do think about it a little more instead of just being like, yeah, I'll be there. See you tomorrow. It's too easy to do that. Yeah. And like within our lifestyle, we can do that. Like it is accessible, but it's not realistic. Like last year, I did fucking 85 clinics or something like that, and it was like, like July last year, I think I did 16 just in the Northeast, and I was like, God, every other day, like man, every day or we do 4 in a row, and you're just like, dude.
I remember last year, I think at the beginning of the year or something, you were like, man, I got 70. I remember 70 something on the schedule. I remember thinking, man, like I really enjoy doing my clinics, but the back-to-back ones are like, okay, I need some time to myself. I'm sure that's just maybe that's just the selfish athlete in us, because at the end of the day, what's a normal 9 to 5? You got to do that Monday through Friday, and so we're super grateful to be able to pick our schedule, right? But at the same time, we get a little selfish. 3 days in a row. That's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I want to go dig in the backyard or something. I just want to sit in the camper.
I want my weekend to fall in these next 2 days.
Yeah. Man, it's wild how that works. But yeah, growing up, I remember there was always clinics, and I remember when I went to California, because I did a lot of clinics coming up at the beginning, like through Alabama, Georgia, and when I was living in Florida a lot, I would do some down there, and so they're really kind of normal. And I remember when I went to California, and it was always just good side money, right?
Yeah.
And then when I went to California, it was like non-existent at the time, or it was like someone had their territory, like someone had every track really had a pro.
And that's to interrupt you a little bit. That was something too that I kind of took for granted. So when I started doing the clinics, the touring in like 2011, I was cool. I didn't really realize how fortunate. Like I know like Southern California is, optimum for what we do. And like I would have maybe 10 to 14 days of rain a year where I was, and so I had to miss maybe 3 track sessions a year. But along with that, like the area we had so many national number 1 amateurs, like amazing pros all the time, that I just kind of overlooked it, and like maybe that's why there wasn't so many clinics, because we all rode with each other all the time. So like the way I learned, and why it was hard for me to understand why clinics were so important, was like I got to just ride with like Vance Weisendinger, Kevin Jones, Kevin Royal, like all these amazing athletes at the time. Like when I was a kid, I would just be like, hey, can I follow you? Like at the track. And then that's
guys I would see in like magazines and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Top amateurs.
Yeah. So like those guys weren't, not that they weren't special, but those were just my local guys. Like you look at your local guys. So when I started touring and doing the clinics everywhere, I was like, maybe this is why this needs to get done like this, because some tracks don't even have a good expert to learn from. You know what I mean? Like the one kid who gets to maybe go to a couple nationals, some tracks don't even have that kid. So it was cool to realize like these guys don't have the opportunity to learn from anybody. They're like, a dad stepped up to get his coaching license so he could make some side money at the track, but he actually has no idea about people, which is still at the end of the day, as long as you're teaching somebody how to do something, it's great. But when the intermediate and expert kids want to learn more than just how to balance in the gate, they need riders like us or whoever to step up and be able to show up at their track and show them how to progress.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. That's cool. That's kind of where I was going with that. I wanted to lead into. I wanted to hear more about. Obviously, you and I have hung out for so long or so many years, but like I said about the last one, I find myself. I want to know more. Like I want to use these to kind of get to know the beginning Nick more. Like with Joris, get to know beginning Joris, and so yeah, I guess that's kind of a good lead into it. You growing up in Southern California, racing BMX, me being that kid that I looked at all that, so all those magazines we got social media now, but it was only magazines back there, VHS tapes. All those I saw, they all came from your area, the area that you were born and raised in, which is still so crazy, right? And yeah, so being that kid being the kid at the track without that expert that we were talking about, it's like, so what was that? How do you? Let's start at the beginning. How how low were you when you started? And I want to see how you viewed growing up around that, and how, like, I mean, you're such good friends with Dennis Henderson, Supercross rider Christian Craig was one of your teammates as a BMXer, Chad Curley, top street guy, if you don't know who he is, was same local, like all these huge names in different disciplines of two wheels, and it's like these dudes just grew up together,
Yeah, just kind of, it's not luck of the draw, because I mean, everybody was little kids at one point, and you just end up being who you end up being. But so like when we were little kids, we were just fucking the kids who rode bikes. But it is crazy how we turned into these athletes,
And it's always from that area, it's like what makes, is it just so much just talent comes
that's what
out of there? Like,
I mean, if I got to look back at it, it has to be that, because the pool of talent was massive. And then like we'd go to a local night and we would have, insane, like nag ones from 8-year-old expert through 1927 expert. And so it didn't matter what level you were at. If you were, brand new, you could look up to the 8-year-old kid, and and then when you were 14X, you're like, I was hanging out and trying to beat like Jason Richardson, and there was like Daryl Dodd, like so many good guys that were there all the time, that when you're growing up, you're just wanting to piss those guys off because you want to beat them, so you're trying to get in and whatever you can move over on them, whatever. But I think it just comes down to like the talent pool we had. Like, granted, like if you look back to how many actual kids or good riders there were, there's probably not as many that came out of that could have, but we did have a huge amount that still were successful on two wheels or whatever it is. So I think it just comes down to the talent pool we had. And then just the opportunities. I think the opportunities to ride. Like I could race 3 different tracks. Well, when Chula came on, we could race all 7 days a week.
I remember hearing those stories as a kid.
And I did. I raced from the time I started racing at 7 till I was 1927 expert, my last amateur year. I raced at minimum 3 days a week in my like faster amateur career.
Always at a different track.
Always at a Cactus and Kearney, and then Chula. No, I didn't race Chula because that wasn't there till I was elite. But Cactus and Kearney, I raced both tracks at least twice a week, no matter what.
But an hour away, you had.
But I could go up to Paris. Temecula was a track back in the day. Bellflower, Orange Y. I had close to 10 tracks within 2 hours.
That's
at least crazy. 10 tracks. Like, because I could go to Yuma, almost was only 3 hours away. El Centro was an hour and a half. And so we could, like, I mean, we would do 5 races in a weekend. We'd race Friday night, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Go and then just travel. But it's just that Southern California, like, we didn't have the rainy days. We didn't have a rainy season. There was no off time for us. It was, and for me, that's what I enjoyed the most, was just getting to go and do it. I mean, we could probably get into it more, but like, I'm not the most competitive person, but what drove me the most was I got to go experience all this. And I knew I had to be good enough to get the opportunity to go to the next race.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was fucking sucking, Dad wasn't going to spend money to go to it. It wasn't necessarily I had to win. But if I wasn't trying my hardest and, you know, putting out the effort, then I wouldn't get that opportunity. And that opportunity is the only thing that I wanted. I didn't care for the first places. I wanted to go see, oh, I know my friend Chris Fox lives up in Ontario. I want to go race there on Saturday. I better fucking put in the work Monday through Friday to get to go hang out with him. So that was more or less how I motivated myself. Was I'm like, I had to do the work, and I was pushed really hard as a kid.
I feel like you do your normal everyday work would have been such a higher level because of the kids you got. I mean, to put in perspective, like, I mean, a lot of kids can relate. Probably 80% of the tracks on the country can relate. Actually, that it's like you deal with the tracks that are like an 8 novice or a 10 novice would get put with. I confuse the NBL because we were beginner or rookie novice beginner. You guys or ABA is novice intermediate expert. Yeah. So it was always like the lowest, the rookie or whatever in a 10-year-old would get put with 8-year-olds, or 8-year-olds would be put with like 15-year-olds. And
just to make races.
Just to make a three rider moto, you know.
Yeah. No, we had straight competition.
That's so wild.
I had kids that I remember specifically this kid, Vincent Salvation. I think I was 15 at the time, and I would beat him every single local race. Didn't matter. I'd been racing longer than him. He came in later, but he's strong. He told me one day, he's like, "Hey, my dad said he'll give me a PS2 if I win tonight." And I'm like, "I'm down. I'll let you get a PS2 tonight." So I kind of like fumbled the first jump a little bit, and I stayed right on him. He won. Never beat him again after that. Ever. No way. Never, dude. From 15 till I was winning World Cup. Like, I won a World Cup at 18.
Yeah.
17, 18, whatever. He still beat me at fucking local races at Kearney. He would barely.
Hold on. You're racing World Cups and you're still showing up at Kearney.
I still race my local races. Yeah. Yeah, because I did that. I won the World Cup in Salt Lake in 2008.
Kearney, which is now San Diego.
Yeah, Tyler's track, San Diego. So I raced the World Cup in Salt Lake, and I won in 2008, and that was in September or August. And then I raced it probably 3 times a week till I won the Grands that year, and I got the second amateur title, and then I turned pro.
Oh, that's right, because you still had to get amateur points anyways. Because I forget, Nick raced. So when we raced World Cups, it's like junior man, U23 elite, but it's like Drew Polk. Drew Polk is amateur, but he still races World Cup. So I forget to break that down. Yeah. But you were like one of the first ones doing that. Like, it was very new back then, I'd say.
Yeah, how it was structured back in the day was like I was able to do, and they're back to being able to do that now.
Yeah.
So you could race just based off your age. So yeah, as soon as I was turning 18. No, I was turning 18. I had to moved up into like the elite class, and I couldn't race. No, what am I trying to say? Yeah, based off my age, I was able to race elite, but also race amateur. Because I didn't have a pro card. So like how back in the day, like.
But you had to be did you have to be of age of elite back then?
No, because that same World Cup, that was Connor's first World Cup, but he was only 16. He might have been 15 actually. But the way it was he was turning junior in the next year.
So it allowed.
Yeah, so I think he was 15, turning 16 like that month, but he was turning 17 the following year, so he was racing up because it was after Worlds. It was just how it was structured. But yeah, he was only. I mean, Connor will probably chime in and check me, but I'm pretty sure he was only 15 at that World Cup.
Dang.
Which I don't think you could do that anymore.
Man, imagine that. Damn, that's wild.
And he did good. He almost made the main. I think he got 5th in the semi.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think as long as I remember Connor, that kid just had so much drive. Even if his speed wasn't there consistently, he always found a way to make a Polk move in a turn or something like that.
The original Polk.
Yeah, yeah, always made it happen. How old were you when you started? When all this began?
When I started racing?
Get a timestamp, yeah. How old were you?
I started at 7, right before 8, so it was like September 1997, 97, I think. 'Cause I'm born in 89.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 turning 8.
Yeah. When shoot, we skipped over so much from there, from locals to still racing locals and winning World Cups. So like, oh, hold
It
on.
was all in the
let's,
same
let's,
damn time frame,
it-
weirdly enough.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah,
But
man.
even like my amateur career, I mean, I'd say I was relevant, but I was relatively mediocre my whole amateur career till like my first or second year, 17, 18. Or like I think 16 I started picking it up, but I would win like 3 to 5 B nationals. You know, it was like A and B nationals back in the day, so I would win like the smaller ones.
I don't remember
So
that.
like
I didn't know there
in
was
ABA there was
category.
like the California ones were the A schedule, the
A pro series versus a non-pro series.
Basically, yeah. And so I would win maybe 3 to 5 of those a year. Like I started out like my first nag number was 3, and then it was like 3, 5, 7, 9, no nag number, and then I went back to 5, and then I got 1-1. But like I had a
Consistently top 10 guy though.
top 10. But who gives a shit about top 10 when you're?
Yeah, I know. A lot of kids do nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in my mind, it's like top 5 is ideal, you know, or main
Mag
event,
5,
main
right?
event,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that makes
like I said, my entire I wasn't like if I was winning, it was just because I did enough sprints and shit beforehand, but it wasn't. I never ever even. I said this the other day in a podcast, or maybe talking to German, but I never went into a race thinking like, "Oh yeah, I'm winning."
Really?
No, never. Like but also
not like I feel good or.
I mean, I could always feel good and like know my numbers were good, like based off times and stuff. But I never was like, "Oh yeah, I got it this weekend." Yeah. I just didn't race like that. I just would, showed up in the gate and how it went. But I would kind of judge it based off how I was prepared leading up to it and leave with like, all right, well, I missed this and this and there. I better get to work when I get home. But again, it all goes back to just like, I wanted to do good enough to get the next opportunity. That was my goal.
I could see that. Okay. Yeah. Even pro class. Yeah. It's like.
And sometimes it takes a win to get the opportunity, you know? And like, if I had to do something like, I said it to German the other day, but like I knew in 2016 Continental Champs at Rock Hill, like I knew I had to win that one.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, I need to win this one to potentially get me like, ranked better for like into the worlds to hopefully not have to race fucking trials race because I did not want to race that at all.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure in my whole
leading into Olympics.
Yeah, into Rio. Yeah, we're skipping around a little bit. But leading into Rio, that was or actually throughout any point in my career, I think that's the only time I showed up to a race like I better win today, or like I have to.
Yeah,
the only time I could think.
That's the only one you can think of.
That I can think of. I knew I liked winning like the Gold Cups and ROCs. I like those one-off day races. Probably why I did decent at national champs a handful of times.
Yeah,
just because like it was winner take all, and that mindset I think was kind of more fun for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
national champs is always a good one.
I hate racing that race.
Oh really?
I hated being competitive with my friends.
Yeah,
more than anything in the whole world. Yeah, it was like we could load up in the gate and practice all day, but I more than likely wasn't cutting nobody off like in practice. Whether I was whole shot in every gate in practice.
Yeah.
But when it was race time and it came down to like cutting my friends off, it was like
it's
not worth it enough to me to do that. But in my mind, it was hard for me to get in the zone like that.
It is a harder race because it is all of us. We always rode together. Majority of national champ, at least the top final 8 dudes, like we all kind of rode together for a while.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was always one. I was like, I need to put the effort in. It's like, oh man, it's probably too late to do it now. But I should have. That's what I should have put the effort in. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I was just gonna lead into something with that, but well, you kind of answered it because I was gonna say like what kept the drive. what kept the drive to keep going. But then it was for another opportunity.
Yeah,
Like going to Olympic. That's
it was. Yeah, like
that
I
kinda
did.
answers
So I
it.
mean, I won't lie and say I never would like Olympics was on my radar. I wanted to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
When it got announced, that's why we started racing the Supercross shit. And as much as I,
Even from the beginning, like when it was like we're gonna be in the Olympics, you want to do
yeah,
that?
yeah, I was like, all right, so this is what I want to do. Like I don't remember ever thinking like, oh, I want to be a top double A. But when they announced the Olympics, I was like, I would like to be an Olympian. Like that's an accomplishment. That's something that everybody in the whole world understands. Like when you say like, oh, I'm BMX champion, they're like, what's BMX? But when you say you're an
Yeah.
Olympian, they're like, okay, I can respect that. And that was like I said, that was my goal, was like do well enough to be respected, do well enough to make it, get the next opportunity.
Yeah.
So when the Olympics was announced, I was like, all right, that's the goal, and whatever it takes to get there.
What was that, like 07 when it was officially, or
Probably like 06.
06?
Yeah.
I was
think
so far
05,
out of that
they
loop.
kind of announced it. They started doing proper World Cups like in 05. I think Eagle had their first World Cup in 05.
Okay.
And they had a janky ass starting hill. You
Yeah.
have to look up the video. I think Nate posted it and Jason Richardson raced it back in the day. And then 2006, 5 and 6, they started having those World Cups, like the San Jose one, the Dew Tour one.
Yep. Yeah.
Was both 05 and 06, I think, and then 07 it moved to Salt Lake.
Those would have been Olympic points races that are
For sure, like the
Yeah.
07 ones.
I went to San Jose, but I was so far out of that Olympic loop.
Yeah, I'm not sure about, but I know it was like posted, or else I wouldn't have been trying to race that, because I never cared for that Supercross hill. I hated
Yeah.
that shit.
Is that the ski jump one?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
that
San
so
Jose.
sick.
Actually, they did that at San Jose, and did they do it at Salt Lake? They might have had it at first
I
year
don't
Salt
remember.
Lake.
I remember
Maybe
San Jose was
07.
the first legit Supercross hill, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Right? 'Cause I did that one.
They had two at San Jose. Both Dew Tours. I think one was 05, one was 06. Do you remember?
I remember my first one was a ski jump one because I was A pro, and I just thought that looks like that looks fun. I want to go ride that,
Yeah.
But I didn't
was that the one Jason Morris broke both of his elbows on? You remember that
man,
one?
I wouldn't
That
know.
one was so gnarly.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I look back in there. I look back at that time and realize how far out of the loop I went to that race. I was like, man, this just looks like a good time, And I was just this NBL kid that just loved to jump, and I still didn't realize it in the moment. But I look back now and realize who I was actually riding with and the level of riding we were actually at. And I'm like, I was just that guy. I just want to go down that hill and jump all these jumps,
Cool.
Yeah, I did like making out of motos. Like that's 3 laps I could race. I wasn't even thinking about the fact of if I make it out of motos. So I look back then and yeah, I was just so far out of my element, and I was just clueless to what actually was going on.
Yeah.
So that's why I like kind of picking your brain about it and seeing how, because you would have been younger than me at that time, but even hearing you say it, you were so far in a different like a goal oriented direction. Did you watch Olympics much? Like you say that about you wanted to be an Olympian, and did you watch other Olympic sports before that?
Yeah, I watch
And
Olympics every year.
Did you watch it with like you want to be? I mean, how am I trying to ask this? Because Connor said Connor's even younger, so maybe he was very young when MX one was in there. But so when I never looked at Olympics, like I was so just I only ride bicycles. Olympics wasn't even this real thing. I remember why we all just as a family just Olympics is on, just watch it. But I never watched it. It was just on TV, So I never looked at it in any kind of. I didn't look at it in a way I wish I would have viewed it.
Yeah.
And then like you hear Connor's story about he has that note when he was a kid, I'm gonna be an Olympic champion one day, and then fast forward all these years and boom, he did it, which is amazing, right? And then that's what I'm like. I want to see how you process how you viewed Olympics. I guess
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could ask my mom, but I'm pretty sure I had a first, second grade art project thing that was. I think it was a magnet, and it said something about going to the Olympics.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I doubt it. It might have said champion, but
Would it have been before BMX was even in the Olympics?
it probably was before I even. Oh yeah, wait. Like I said,
Really?
first or second
Yeah.
grade.
Oh, first or second grade.
Yeah,
So
like I
you
wasn't
should-
even racing BMX. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
So I was just a fan, and I can't tell you like.
See, that's cool.
I can't tell you much of like what sport. Like I know for a fact, like I love knowing who the fastest man in the world was every Olympics. Like the 100-meter dash guy. Like
Yeah.
that was a big deal to me. Like that's the fastest motherfucker in the world. Like that's a cool title to have.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's how you
thought
view it.
that. So like, I mean, when I would tune in every summer and watch it, whatever ones I could watch. Swimming was always super cool. Swimming was cool because there were so many different events, and like one person could win, like Mike Phelps, whatever, fucking 12 medals in one of them. Like that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
walking out of there with that much. We're like, look, you know, you get one maybe.
Yeah.
Only 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I did whatever project in first or second grade. I think it was like a magnetic apple stuck on the fridge, and I'm pretty sure it said something. It could have said like I want to be Olympic champion, or I want to go to something like that. But I for sure had one. I can't say for sure. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to ask my mom. So from a young age, like
That's cool.
I enjoyed the Olympics. I understood that was the best people in the world for the most part at whatever they did. And to me, that was like they're respected. And I don't know why that word respect is so meaningful to me, but that was something that was like how I viewed that person. I wanted to be viewed like that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it was. And then, yeah, like, so, I mean, I wanted to be, I paid attention to the Olympics. So when they announced it, it was like, all right, that was my shift into like, all right, we got to do whatever it takes to make it to the Olympics. Whatever that means. What if I got to win these races or be top 5 at these, whatever it was, I got to do what it takes to get there. And so that's how my mentality shifted. Because like I said, I can't remember even being a good expert like the last 14, 15, like whatever before 13, 14, 15, and thinking like I was going to be a good AA pro. Like I don't know if that was a goal of mine until the Olympic thing was brought up. And then I think I started taking it more serious, which is probably like why I started doing better in my amateur career towards GM2 was like, you know, ultimately shifting towards hopefully making it to the Olympics at some point. Yeah, so I mean, it was always there. It was always.
That's cool. Well, I ask because too, like, I mean, as we get older, we just kind of analyze. I feel like I analyze a lot of stuff now, way more than I did before, and I always wonder. And I don't say this in like any kind of like regret or anything, but I always wonder, like what did I analyze it in a way of how can I pass it to someone else? Like, what did I personally lack to not get somewhere else? I know what my goals were, but my lifestyle for 10 years living in California, and I felt like I went on this, like, all right, we just go to the Olympics now, you know, like, and like 08 is when I started winning AA races, and that was just the next step. Like, okay, like I got a call from Mike King, and that was Olympics. I remember when my mom was talking about BMX gonna be in the Olympics, or the whole conversation was going. It didn't even seem like it was the same sport that I did.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like, oh, cool. Oh, that's cool. Like, who's gonna be in the Olympics, you know? And like, and then that would have been like 07. I'm like coming up as a AA then, you know, but not one point did I think like, oh man, I could be in the position to put myself in that, and you know? Yeah. And yeah, it was just never really a thing. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, okay, I won some races, I'm getting better. I'm like, okay, that's what we do now. Yeah. You know, but it wasn't like I'm doing this. You know, it's cool here in New York because like you set that in motion at such a young age, and you just kind of manifested that through like you worked your ass off, and that was your goal, and it wasn't even what you did. You didn't even do something that was in the Olympics, you know, and it just played out. And I think that's so cool. And then, yeah, so I see it, and it was around me all the time, you know. I forgot where I was going with this. But it was like it was just like the Olympic vibe. It was around my home life, everything, all the time. But I knew for some reason, that wasn't my number one. But it was like everybody around me, that's their number one. So it should be my number one, you know. So it was like a forced, not like no one forced me to go. But I feel like, okay, this is just
This is the path
I
I'm
didn't
going down.
know, it's like this is the path we're going.
Yeah.
When I should have just stuck with let's just stick with what we're doing, and then maybe that will just snowball. So that's why I like hearing other people's like how do other people like process this path or whatever. Which so it's cool hearing it because it's so much different how like. And my brain just never processed, so I'm sitting there listening to your story. Like, man, that's how you thought. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's really cool to hear. So, but yeah, I don't know. Lindsay, we got any questions?
What?
We got any
Anybody
questions?
chiming in?
Yes.
What we got?
Just kind of like, what tips do you have for racing 1720?
Oh, just ignore those questions. Sorry, guys.
Stuff like that.
I need a buffer to get the conversation going more.
This is one for Nick. What happened the second turn with your foot slipping in the Olympics?
Yeah, have you ever told this story before?
Never.
Yeah, ask questions for Nick. No questions for me. Just questions for Nick.
I mean, if you've been to my clinic, I tell the story.
Let's talk about Olympics. There we go. Shit, all this lead up to Olympics. Let's talk about the Olympic Games, Nick Long.
Well,
there you go. Let's start with this first.
Let's preface a little bit with London. So, the London cycle, I did really well, like in World Cups through like 2000. I won one in 2008. I did well in 2009. I made the world's main in 2009. 2010, I also won a World Cup. I made maybe another podium, couple mains. 2011, I got a podium at the test event in London. But then right after that, I fucking struggled. I didn't get any more results after, like from test event through the Olympic, through the selection for London. I never did good. Like for some reason, I got like quartered. Probably every World Cup. I have no idea.
You felt like all the pieces were
I
in
felt
play.
fast. Yeah, I mean, I
out.
can think back, and I was fast, and I just I think it just was. I don't know. It could have been the pressure of trying to make the team. But yeah, I never did good. I don't think I got quartered every event, and then we got to the Worlds. I think I might have got semis at the Worlds in 2012. But then we had to do the trials race. I got fucking smoked at the trials race. I don't even think I made it to the 4-man main. But I did, luckily and unlucky enough for everybody else, nobody else had any results either, that they took my best result from the test event. I got the podium there, so I got the coach's pick. So I kind of went in to London not on a high horse. You know what I mean? Like making the team is great, and I accomplished that. And so I was mentally like, fuck yeah, like I'm an Olympian. I got my goal, you know? And I think once I accomplished that goal, once I got that fucking flight to London, at the end of that day, like my goal was accomplished. So what was I trying to prove at the race? And I think I raced with that mentality, unfortunately. We had I did well in the time trial. I think I got 7th, which was pretty good for me back in the day. And then I crashed first round. George cut the track, blasted everybody. Did he? Yeah, he goes through the grass and takes out all 7 of the 8 of us crash in the first round in London.
Oh,
I don't think he cheated. He didn't mean to cheat, but he just got cut off and then just said, "Fuck you guys," took us all out.
That's right, because I remember it. It was first. I don't remember you being in there, but I remember watching it. It was like, because Beijing, I didn't really watch. I watched it.
Yeah, I did too, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, but London, I remember.
Yeah,
like I remember watching. I remember that. I'm like, it's war.
It was fucking hectic. And this, first round, 7 of the 8 of us fall. Wheelers takes off, wins. I fold my handlebar over my when I crash, I gut myself like I did on the motorcycle that day. At the party. I folded the bar over in half, so I had the second round. I was already on my spare bike, and I had 4 more rounds of qualifying because it was 5 rounds of qualifying there, and we just struggled. So I crashed first round. I think I was in like 3rd in the second round. Got cut off in there to put a foot down. Got 5th. Got like 4th or 3rd round, and then I was winning the 4th round. Bonked the last straight. Herm passed me. Then I won the last round. So I win the last qualifying round, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I needed that to get to the final day of racing. Missed it by 1 point. So there's a photo I have that DB took of me like walking up through the finish line with my name at the top of the list, like on the screen,
Yeah.
but my head's down because I didn't qualify. And so
Yeah.
I remember walking out of there that day, so bummed, like so let down, which was weird because I usually didn't feel like that. Like if I put out my best effort, I was stoked on that. But for some reason, I walked out of there pretty upset or like let down on myself. Like not let down. What's the word? I do say like 2-time Olympic letdown is kind of my ongoing joke. I always say, but I remember I walked out of there and I had a decent injury. Jason Richardson walked my bike out and I was fucking hunched over like that. But I remember I got home and like for probably 2 months, I was like, it was the only time in my whole life I ever mildly took a break. And I was like, I'm just going to go do regular people exercise. I'm not going to ride. And I was like, fuck, I don't know where to go from here. And then I thought about it, whatever. And I shifted my focus to, okay, instead of just being an Olympian, I need to make it to the final. And that's how, so whatever, after the 2 months after London, when I fucking shook it off and realized I still have BMX, that was my mentality. My goal now was I better make it to the final day of racing. Like, if you don't make it to the main event at the Olympics, then what's the point? That was and so I got results and did fine throughout those next couple of years leading up to it. But going
You had done too much. You were too good. You were too established in the sport to just be a top 16 guy.
Yeah, I was 17. I actually got 17. That was the fucking last quarter rider that didn't make it out. But
because you were a consistent finals
I
guy.
I won 2 World Cups before that. And so as stoked as I was to be called an Olympian after round 1, I just let myself down kind of. And I didn't usually race I never felt like that very often after racing. There was plenty in most races where I knew I let other people down. Didn't make my dad proud or whatever it was for the most part. But London was probably one of the only races where I was like, fuck, I know I could do better than that. Like I need to have a better result to be proud of myself. And so that was skip through 13, 14, 15. We had consistent years there. I got an ABA number 3 like twice. Got some World Cup results. I didn't win anymore, but I got some seconds and thirds, a couple mains. But so when I got into the Rio selection time, it was like I wanted to do just better than the last round. So last round I was coach's pick. I needed to do better at the trials race. Maybe win that. Like that'd be cool to me, knowing I didn't want to fucking race that race. So my goal was to hopefully be the first choice. And luckily I did. I got through, like I said, I won that continental race that I thought I did. I had good enough results, consistent enough results. We get to World Championships. I rode really well there in Colombia in 2016. I actually almost podiumed at the time trial too. I missed out on that. I got 4th. Made it to the main. Connor wasn't racing because he got hurt earlier in the year. So it was kind of just between Corbin and I, and Herm a little bit was battling, but he didn't make it out of the 8th or something. But me and Corbin racing the semi. He slid out in the semi, and I made the main. I'm like, damn, I gotta. Like, I think at this point, I was like, I think I got the points locked in. So I think I'm going to the Olympics. Like, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, and almost no matter what, anytime I made out of the semis, I almost never, I can't say I never, but I'm pretty sure I almost never cared, like, what place I got. I was just stoked to be in the main every single time.
Yeah.
And a bonus was if I was racing with a teammate like Kalen at Nationals, if I beat him, I was like, as long as I do better than Kalen, I'm on the team next year, next race. And that was, so that's kind of how my mentality was. But anyways, so I made it. I had a good main. I got 3rd at the World Championships, which also solidified a spot. So like, if you got a podium, you got an automatic spot. And I was like, so I made it. But I remember doing all my build up and my training through Rio.
Who got 1st and 2nd that year? In Worlds?
Joris won. Neek got 2nd.
And you 3rd, okay.
Yeah, because Neek won 15 Worlds, and that Rainey one is older. And then, Joris won 16.
That was the one like right out of junior. One junior.
Yeah, one junior and then one elite. So I qualified for the Olympics. I didn't have to do the trials race, which I was fucking stoked about. But then going through racing, like, I remember I had hard rounds. I can tell you everybody that was in it. But I got like 5th first round. shook it off, like whatever. Had a smooth lap, got around the track fine.
We talking? You said we're talking Rio.
This is in Rio now.
In
Yeah.
Rio, yeah.
So in Rio,
Hold on. Let's first talk about
let's skip.
our front flip. Your front flip in practice. Just to
People
don't even remember. Some people might not even remember that.
I probably need to do a repost on it soon. I mean, not much to say. I was just late in the practice. I was popping off first straights and feeling good. And I remember getting in the gate and just peripheral seeing Liam in the gate, and he was always super efficient and fast as shit down the hill. And I came out and we were head to head down the kink, and I think I might have wheelied a little bit past the kink, and then just didn't back off, and I just pedaled right through it, and my cranks just got stuck at 6 and 12, and it was so crystal clear in my mind. I remember like pedaling through, and I'm like, uh-oh, I know what's happening. And it was so slow motion. I remember hitting the lip, and I'm like, all right, we're going around. I can see the landing. I let off and just like butt slid down it, but it was so slow motion. Like I'll post a video.
I can see it in my head so vividly. Like I'm looking at it on Instagram.
Just,
yeah.
Whoa! I'm yelling. You can see the video. I'm yelling in the air. I scream when I hit, not scream, but like I hit the ground. I'm like, woo! Okay. Actually, I think Jeff was in
full front flip. Like
full rotation.
Did you nosedive into the landing too, or did you just?
So I full front. I caught it, and then it.
Yeah. On your butt, slide out.
But yeah,
safe.
It flipped my back wheel into the ground, exploded my back wheel, but I just like butt slid. I don't even think I touched my helmet on the ground. I just was a little bit scraped, but it wasn't bad.
I remember seeing that video, and the camera was probably between jump 1 and 2 and the top of the bleachers, and I could hear you so clear.
You can hear me talking. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god!
yeah. And I remember that was a wild one.
I remember like being in the air, the same thing. Like, oh my god, I got this, I got it. Did you fucking see that?
Yeah.
Like, how did I do that?
Wonder if this is one of those wrecks, because it was like that was your wreck in Rio. You had the viral wreck in Rio, and then Neek had the viral wreck in Tokyo.
He killed the guy.
He had smashed that dude the second straight away. I don't think there was one in London, though. I don't remember a London one.
And there was fucking good crashes at all. I mean, same thing when we got to fucking Rio. Like, I was probably third or fourth rack. I remember watching I was probably fourth rack. I remember watching the first 3 racks thinking, like, I don't think I'm ready to race today. These guys are murdering each other out there. Like, Tori made a bitchin' pass in the first turn, cleaned out, like, the fastest dudes in the world. Like, Maris exploded, Liam crashed. The next round, I think Amadou Mir ripped his testicle, like his ball sack open down the first straight. Like, it was extremely violent. Like, if you go back and watch, I'm pretty sure the first 3 rounds, extravagant crashes.
Well, that's actually what I'm gonna go into after you finish telling me about your Rio experience. That leads into another question I want to ask about Olympics.
And then I'm whatever. I get in the gate, and so back to just where I was. I remember I raced first round, got like 5th. Like, okay, I need to just do better in that second round. I think I went and I got like, maybe I got 3rd, but I'm pretty sure I got 4th. So I'm pretty sure I had 9 points. And like, I have to win 3rd round to make it I have to win 3rd round to make it further than I did last time. And I win, and I won. Whole shot, I won the lap. But it wasn't like a shock to me. I remember I was like, good, I got the job done. I remember
Was that like a stress? Like, how did you put that? How did you... Like, so many people would put that on, like, I have to, like, oh my god, just transfer, I have to win this moto, like, and the stress levels go through the roof, right? Like, when you needed to, like, I have to do this, you seem to be, from the stories you're telling me, it's like, all right, Continentals or whatever the case, like, I have to do this, and you went and you executed. What were nerves like there? How did you talk yourself through that, or did you just let it happen? You know, like, how did you process that situation? You know? Like, was it stressful for you? You know? Were you stressed? Like, oh, fuck, I'm nervous. I can't.
Not really.
You know?
I was pretty good. I never got super nervous. Like, I was like a pretty strategic racer. So, whoever, I would look at everybody's gate. Like, okay, I can cut that guy off. Fuck, he's on the inside. I better be smart. I was pretty strategic. But when it came down to, like, those... I don't know what the right answer is but I think I kind of just gave myself no option, and it was like, I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
like I
Yeah.
can't. It's not like I podium. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just saying that because I did win those races, and maybe my mindset is different after the fact. But
Yeah.
I know loading up or coming after that second round, I was like, I didn't do good enough these rounds to give myself any fucking slack in the third round. I have to win if I want to be proud of myself at the end of this experience.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, whether or not I willed it to happen or if I just showed up and did what I had to do that time, yeah, I don't know. My mentality was just kind of clear cut like that. Like I knew the way when I raced too, I wasn't a very emotional rider. It was kind of, you know, clip in with your right foot, clip in with your left foot,
Yeah.
fucking grab your grips, throw your weight. But I would break it down from everyone. So I think I was able to consume myself mentally with that and just be like, all right, got to win. Now from here, load up in the gate, pull the back foot, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I don't want to change the subject on that, but I feel like I can, like, selfishly I put myself in that situation. Like, well, how does Nick Long analyze this? You know, because and I go to this because maybe someone can relate to it, right? But like I never had that kind of, like I was in plenty of situations in my elite days where I'm like, I have to do this, you know, and it usually goes the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I get nervous and I put way too much pressure on myself. And then, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to like you get a good start. I knew if I get a good start, like no one's gonna catch me on the track. I know I can get around the track good. But when do I get a good start? Or when did I? You know, that was not my strong suit. So I think that's where that question comes from. From me, it's like, how did you process that? Because I put myself in that situation, and I'm like, how do I do a gate start again? Like, I gotta win this motor, and I gotta learn how to do because I didn't have the confidence to. All right, if I just put everything together right and just do everything, just check all the boxes, do what you're meant to do. You're gonna snap these dudes. You're gonna cut them off. You're gonna hold shot at the bottom of the hill. I didn't have that. You had that. You know,
I think, it probably can't. It probably comes from. That's the way. Like, I could say I was confident in my gates.
No, it's a good thing.
That's what I trained
think
for.
that's
like,
why. Yeah,
I knew for the most part I was fast enough to win down the first straight a lot of the time. In my peak years. And so I don't think I wasn't nervous about that. I knew I just had to execute and do what I had already done fucking 200 times that week.
Yeah.
Like I've done these 200 gates this week. If I could get one that's as good as my average gate, I'm gonna be in the front or within range,
okay.
You know,
that's cool.
And so I think I mentally had that kind of on the back burner. Like, I'm fast to the first jump. I know that.
Yeah.
So I think I just had to calm myself down, be in the moment, be present, show, and just do what my body has done 200 times that same week. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So I think I was good at just being able to break that down one at a time, go through the step. But I didn't put that kind of pressure on myself very often.
Yeah.
Like there was those times like, okay, I got to win this one. That was very few and far between.
Yeah.
So like through a season, I maybe one or two times. I would be like, felt like one I needed to do good, and it's hard to say if I could think back and I executed every time. I'm sure I fucking didn't.
No, it's just cool to hear because that was an experience as a AA pro that that was a mental experience that I never experienced and I only realize it now because racing vet, I'm doing a lot of things I didn't get to do, you know, which is a big drive for me. It's like, it's cool to experience this side, and now I know I can get on the gate like, okay, as long as you do all the right steps, you can be the fastest one there, you know. So it's like I finally get to experience that because I didn't get to. So here on your side, it's like all the times we raced together, all the times we were next to the gate together. Now I get to see what was going on in your head.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I just get to experience it through your That's why I'm asking, even aside from podcasts or whatever. It's like I just like, ooh, how'd it work for you?
Yeah.
You know? Stuff that we couldn't say if we're still getting on the gate next to each other trying to make Olympic points.
Hey man, what are you doing?
No, that's I love hearing that side of it. It's really cool, and I think people can really pull from that or whatever. So, but yeah, anyways, third moto, you got your shit together, you won.
Yeah, and I knew I did, like I said, I just had to execute, and I did. So I came across, I can't even tell you, I think Jelly was in my moto. I think Jelly and Neek, actually, I think Urs was in my moto too. So I had like a fucking hard moto. I think George crashed, he broke his elbow in the berm jump one round.
Oh, that was a bad one. Yeah, that's right.
Like I said, like, I wish you could go back, or we could sit here and pull it all the round. Dude, the crashes were so fucking gnarly. And like, when you're sitting up in the gate and you're like, fuck, I got 5 fast guys in it. I hope I could get a good gate beat. And then you're like, fuck those fucking fast guys. Exploded, man. The hardest part about Rio and London was watching. It was watching how bad everybody wanted to win.
Yeah.
That was and then that was a hard thing for me because I didn't go into any races like I want to win. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. If I won, it was because I had a better first straight than everybody, and I was able to keep them behind me. But I can't imagine. There's probably no races that I made a pass and hit somebody and like took first place. Like if I made a pass, it was just a smart pass and I just outsmarted somebody.
Yeah.
So like, it was hard seeing all these guys knowing that their mentality is, I'm fucking winning today, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. And I'm watching four out of 8 dudes just murder each other without care.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that is not how I race. I don't know how to shift into that gear. And I had to talk myself out of that and just be like, all right, fuck, you're fast on the first straight. You're big enough to get in the way. Just ride like Nick. You know, whatever it is.
Would you say both? I feel like it's just a good time before we go through out of motos. Being a viewer of Olympics, it looks like war. This is, at the end of the day, it's just a World Cup race, right? It's
easier than a World Cup race.
Yeah, it's
the
easiest
race that you could do.
Yeah, you have all these countries that they might have 2 or 3 fast guys, but there's only one of their fast guys, and so I'm glad you said that, but it didn't come from my mouth. But I always viewed it like, granted, you get down to the final 16, it's normal.
It's the fastest, the best, but it's the best riders for the most part. Like a lot of the time, they're the guys who don't do the dumbass moves, who don't race like practice B group. You know? You have those guys that are the elite of the elite. They know how to ride the track. Whoever prepared the most and whoever's going to be the fastest is going to win. But then you show up to racing and it's like, Jesus Christ, everybody's murdering each other.
Yeah.
These guys don't typically race like that. How do I shift into that gear? And that was a shock to have to figure out.
Were the attitudes like that behind the gate, too, like in the pits and all that? Like, were those riders? Because granted, World Cup is 64 riders in our time. 64, then 100
qualify down.
Whatever. Yeah. But now, however many. But the Olympics is only 32 dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, if not that many people even in.
No, and that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Or the easiest thing about the Olympics is there's no fucking rogue rider. Like when you roll down to South America and then you got Juan Carlos, whatever, 12 names, and dude, you see that guy who was that guy? There's not a rider like that at the Olympics. So we all know each other. We all respect each other. But then, you see that shift in like, fuck you, I'm going for a gold medal. And you're like, fuck, I'm in this race too. I got to, show up for it.
Yeah.
So that was that. When you're there and you're not that type of rider, like I wasn't, that was probably the one obstacle that was tough for me to figure out, because at the other races it was a little different, or just it wasn't as noticeable. I don't think. How violent the sport seemed to be, especially maybe just because it was so. The cream of the crop guys, and like those guys don't typically race like that. Why are we racing?
They're doing the dirty move.
Like that's not how we race, guys. But then just everybody wants to fucking win. You all made your parents are in the stands. Your grandparents fucking fly down. You're like, this is the time to do it, And so, but like, not on the track. People were normal.
No,
I think. It wasn't like a more serious race behind the gate or in the pits.
Yeah,
I don't think it was. But like, if there was the serious riders, they were still serious. Like Sam, he was a intense guy. He was serious. You weren't typically cracking jokes to him walking up the hill.
Yeah,
he's the same way. But he wasn't. Like I was still I mean,
You're still Nick. and
you'd
then
have
the
to,
other
yeah, you'd have to
31
ask
were.
back. Yeah, you'd have to ask back to not me.
Yeah.
But I imagine I was probably up in the stands like, hey, dude, good lap last round. Like,
Yeah.
don't cut me off this one. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, but that was more so not a defense mechanism, but that's what kept me present, was to be myself
Yeah.
to people, not be like.
I can only imagine if me and you were up there, if I made the team, we'd be the only ones having conversations behind the gate or in staging.
You're coming over, Barry!
Yeah, and everyone else is like, I wish these two would shut up.
I'm trying to date, man. But I don't recall it being any more intense than like a regular World Cup or anything.
All right, so you made the semi.
Made the semi. Oh,
Three
so
more
anyways,
laps? Was it still 3 lap semis, or was
It was just-
Rio 1 lap semi?
No,
It
so
was
it
still
was
total points,
yeah, 3
right?
quarters, 3 semis, 1 main.
Yeah, okay,
So I made
that's
it
right.
through quarters, and at that point, I had made it further than my previous experience. So I was more proud. You know, I made it through the final day of racing, but I needed to make it to the main, like mentally. That was my goal. That was the reason I went there. I never went there with the mentality like I'm getting the medal. Like that wasn't a goal of mine. Like
Yeah.
it would have been cool, and I got fucking close. Like when we
Yeah.
get to that part of the story, like I got fucking close, but I was upset for 5 minutes, and I was like, dude, I accomplished what I set out to
got
do.
your goal, yeah.
So yeah, I did, but I did the same thing in fucking semis. Semi round 1, 4th or 5th. Round 2, 3rd or 4th. Like, fuck, I gotta do good this round. Like if I want to walk out here with my head held high, I didn't have to win. I think I needed top 2, or I needed a podium with somebody, Corbin. I had to beat Corbin, I think. And I got second behind Dean. So him and Sam were on the inside. So I got second, qualified to the main.
Why do you think you had to turn it up twice in a row? What took you 3 laps to turn it up third moto? Why didn't you turn it up first round? You know, like what do you think what was different in your mindset from first round and second round by not hitting your marks and not getting a top spot like you knew you could have, and then you, instead of like you waited till third round, all right, okay, now let me get my shit together.
I
you
think
know? In not to sound so blunt.
no, but I think even getting those 4th and 5th places in those both first quarters and both semis, I don't think I would have been upset with any of those laps. Like I think all my laps were good. I don't think I made
they
any
just played out
yeah,
that way.
I just got 4th
it.
and 5th. Like I was just that fast in I could have, I probably could have made passes, but I think at the end of the day, I was just trying to be. I mean, my whole career, I was just trying to be a smart rider. Like I wasn't the rider who was risking shit. I was trying to I trained hard enough to put myself hopefully in the front of the race at the beginning. That way I could not deal with the bullshit through the end.
Yeah.
So my mentality was, if I can get close enough to the front by the first turn, surely I could keep some people behind me. And so that's kind of how I always raced. But so getting those days, like I don't like I said, I don't think I came out of first round either of the quarter or the semi and being like, fuck, I fucking got 5th that time. Like I was like, all right, cool, got a smooth lap, made it, and we'll make it to the next one. And so just how it didn't matter whether I got first and then actually that's a bad example. So getting those places, I was content. I was happy with those laps. I just knew the way it had to play out to do better. I didn't have any different mentality in those races. I just knew I guess I knew I didn't have to win that first round.
Yeah.
I didn't have to win that second round. I just needed to make it to the fucking third round.
Yeah.
Be healthy enough to show up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then once I was healthy enough to show for third round, then I had to put the pressure on myself to turn it up a gear, I guess.
So then you executed, got a second?
Yeah, executed, got second. Had third lane choice in the main. And I remember like walking up the hill and from the time I made it out of that third semi and like walking back to the pits, I was elated, just like I did it.
Yeah.
Like whether or not anybody else is proud of me, like
yeah.
Oh yeah, fucking 8th.
That was your goal. You reached your goal.
My goal for the whole 4 years leading up to this was to make it to the final race of the day. people watch the final race of the day. Nobody gives a shit what place you got in the first quarter or whatever.
Yeah.
They watch the final, and that was all I wanted to do was make it to the final. And ultimately, I think that's probably why I did what I did in the main. Was I had zero pressure in the main, like not an ounce. I don't think I cared what my mom, my dad thought. Like, I knew my dad wanted me to win.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm fucking here. I made it to the final day or final race. Everybody in the stands is fucking packed. And I think that's what just gave me that little bit of edge, because I'm sure the other 7 dudes in the gate were like, I gotta win a medal.
Yeah.
Like, or else this or is nothing.
You already had your medal.
I already had my medal.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I did as well as I did. I mean, I did what I trained for.
Yeah.
I trained to be fucking fast on the first straight, and yeah, so I whole shotted, and then back to the question: we hit the pedal on the ground.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been to the clinic of mine, where I tell the story every time, yeah, so I whole shot the first straightaway. I had something funny with that first straightaway. If we backtrack a little bit, Maris. I remember if he watches this or not, but I remember like that first day of practice, I watched him do because he was the champion, 2 times over. Like, fuck, what if he wins 3? Like, even though I'm racing him, like that would be cool as shit to see.
Yeah.
I remember halfway through practice, I could see he was defeated. The second jump on the first straightaway, couldn't do it, and he was just, I don't know what to do. Like, you've seen somebody, a 2-time Olympic champion, he was like lost in the situation. It was really weird. And it was just a short jump. It had a steep lip. And so I remember watching the first couple rounds of practice, and everybody was just, like launching it. I'm like, what are you doing that for? Like, so people were starting to back off early.
Yeah.
And I figured out I could take an extra pedal and then skid. And that got me an advantage to not have to back off. So I was sprinting, dude. I wish you could see it slow-mo in a video.
I never knew this.
Dude, I fully skid. But before
lap.
Every single lap. I'm sprinting. I take one more pedal and everybody, and then I'm like, Chirk, and I just absorb the jump and get to the backside. And I was able to do it every time. I never had an issue doing it. And so that was just my race line. And I don't think it was an advantage, but it was just anybody could have done it. I was aware of the situation and was able to adjust. And, anyways, whole shot at the final, got over the jumps, good. Do the turn, berm jump. I know Connor came up along. I remember going through the first turn, and
didn't plan to be here.
No, well, before that, because the first turn. So backtrack, Manchester World Cup that year was the first time I hit my pedal on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Hit my pedal on the ground, like I pedaled through the first turn, or I went through the first turn, exited, like almost fucking crashed, like what the fuck happened? Finished the lap, next round, did the same thing, came out of the second, third pedal, flipped the bars. I'm like, I've been racing for fucking 22 years at that point and never hit my pedal on the ground.
Yeah.
So I remember going through that first turn in Rio. So skip back ahead. The Rio first turn, it was kind of, besides being giant and green, it had like a hump in it for the girls' turn. So like if you were able to go low enough, you would take this.
It was like a bank.
Yeah, it was kind of like, and it's hard to see. That. But I remember first thing in practice, besides having to go to goggles, I couldn't fucking see anything on that track. I'm going through that first turn and like got Connor up on the top side of me, and I'm like, don't pedal, because I didn't want to hit my fucking pedal on the ground in the first turn. So I'm like, you could probably see, I think I like pump a little bit and like try to get around, and I don't hit my pedal. But Connor comes up alongside the outside of me, and I'm taking that line away from him, so I kind of jump into him a little bit. He balls up. We both overclear the berm jump, which I forgot I did. I hit my helmet on, which pulled my goggles into my eyelids, like shake it down quick. But I didn't mess up. So like I did hit my visor. I cleared the jump fine. I got it down. I landed fine, so that wasn't no excuse. I get around the turn, and I just fucking pedal, hit my pedal on the ground.
Yeah.
And so I used to just ride with my feet level in the turns. I didn't even lose my speed, really.
Yeah.
But I just panicked. So
okay.
I hit my pedal on the ground. It bounces my turn there, like swaps me, and I take, I'd say a 2-pedal pause, but probably just a 1-pedal pause where I'm like, fuck, this step up's big.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know if I got this. And it just, I went for it, and I launched, and I pulled up, And then I stayed on the track like I had the same amount of speed like I went through the turn fast, where you just kind of ride to the middle. And Connor just blew by me. And then I rode in the last turn, same thing in the middle like I'd been doing all day, like I had the same amount of speed. Jelly pushed me up, and I was still good. Came around, I pedaled as hard as I could the line, and Carlos just had a little bit more speed than me.
Yeah.
So we ended up tying at the finish line, like on the board. It said photo finish. And I'm pretty sure we were like one of maybe two sports in the Olympics that their times went to the 1,000th. Every other sport, like swimming, they just go to the 100th. And if you tie in swimming, they just share the medal.
Right.
So when I saw that, I was like, I'll take a bronze.
Yeah.
Like, tie for bronze? Tight.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So, like, you see all the photos of me and Connor, we're all stoked. Like,
oh, yeah.
well, almost anybody else would have been bummed. Like, you went from first to, oh, you got third. Cool. But I was like,
Still
oh.
a big medal. Just
But then, so that got taken away. It got cut in the feed, and everybody's like, oh, dude, hell yeah, you got bronze. And I'm like, nah, fuck. But I remember I walked out of there for like 5 minutes. And I was like, I don't know if I sat on I think I sat on some stairs for a minute. But it wouldn't have been more than 5 minutes, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure it was like a moment like I was like, fuck am I doing? Like, I accomplished what I set out to do.
Right.
And so, like, I was bummed about not getting that gold for a minute. And I'm not gonna lie, I still get haunted sometimes. Not haunted, but like I'll think like before I'm going to sleep, like, damn, that medal would have been pretty cool just to see in my drawer, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, I accomplished what I set out to do, and I don't know if it's me justifying it or what, but like I don't feel like I was the person who was meant to get that gold, or I meant, like I said, medal's cool. But like, I don't think I was the person who needed to be on like Ellen or some shit like that. You know, like, what am I gonna say? I'm trying to go to the bar and get beers. You know, like that's all. I was not all I wanted, but I wanted to celebrate. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was my Olympic experience.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
So yeah, I was. But yeah, so it's weird. I'll talk to parents and kids and try to. I don't know what the right, like, not defer parents from, like, being hard on kids, because my dad was hard on me, not in a mean way, but, like, he's like, you got to get this done if you want to do this, and so that's where that mentality, that work mentality comes from. But I always felt like I had to, you know, if he wanted me to win, my dad wanted me to win, like, sponsors, whatever wanted me to win, it wasn't important to me, but if I wanted to go get those experiences, those opportunities, those trips to go see my friends, whatever it was, I knew I had to do the work and show up, and sometimes you had to win.
Yeah.
But sorry, back to what I was saying about
That's
with,
a cool
like,
way,
parents.
that's a cool way
and
to
stuff.
look at it, though. I like
Yeah,
that.
so back to like what parents is like. Imagine if your kid doesn't want to win, like me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care to win. I didn't go out there like at a local race and be like, oh, I want to win.
Yeah.
You know, so like imagine. Try not to be so hard on your kid. Because what if he doesn't fucking care? What if he just enjoys riding and racing? You make him do the work, and if he's got a bad attitude out there, don't let him race or her race. But don't put the pressure on, like, you better fucking win.
Yeah.
That's a tough mentality to get through. And
Right.
I mean, I was a...
When it might not be their goal.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Not their goal. If their goal is just to come out and ride, give them that opportunity.
They might want to just go to Grands. They don't have to win Grands. They just
Yeah.
might want to be there. That's cool.
I forgot what I was going with that. But yeah, just not everybody has. I mean, we are in a competitive sport. It is cool to see. You congratulate everybody who wins, but like me and Rio, you could have just said like, "Dude, fuck yeah, you made the main," and that would have been like, "That's all. That was my goal." You know what I mean? If you understood what my goal was going to it, you'd have been just as proud as me as anybody who got first. You know what I mean? So it just. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of.
If you went into turn 1 in 4th, came out in 4th, and finished in 4th, you would have never had those other doubts, and you would have never had it. Like, I'm sure you just got that taste for a minute, you know. Then it's like for the next 10 seconds, your goal changed, you know. But it hasn't been the day one goal. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, and then like, oh, let's hold on to this goal.
Yeah.
I was already proud. Got it, and then when I got in the turn, I was like, okay, cool. Let's fucking try to get this. Let's win this.
Yeah.
And then, I was upset for a minute. Like, that was dumb. Why they fucking keep my pedal up, fucking stupid idiot.
Yeah.
I didn't hit it all other any other round. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my experience in the sport.
That's pretty. That's pretty cool. I always find myself. I look back again, just being older, analyzing things, and I look back at it. I mean, so much is so deeply rooted into those goals you set for yourself, you know. And it's so easy to find these new goals along the way, which is fine. But then when you live a whole career of it, and you look back, like, what was my real goals as a kid? You know, I do it to myself. You know, like going from what I did or didn't achieve, and like, why did I do this? I'm like, well, let's look back at it. Well, you did actually achieve what your goal. Same way, you know, if you were hard on imagine being hard on yourself for years, like, why did I never get a medal? And then you finally hit a point, you're like, well, let's go back. Let's go back when you're like, what was my real goal? Well, I actually achieved everything I wanted. Those are just new goals along the way because of how situations presented themselves. Or I was like, oh, shit, I'm at first. Holy crap! Like, this wasn't part of the plan, but it wasn't, and it didn't work out. Maybe it just didn't work out because at the beginning of the day, that just wasn't really. That was someone else's goal, you know. I mean, I'm saying that from a personal side, but maybe that's how more of a just a life, you know, because I look at back my career and there's so much shit I didn't do, but then I'm like, there's a lot that I actually like. It makes me like be okay with things. I'm like, well, actually, the things you really wanted, you actually checked off.
Yeah.
You know, then the stuff you didn't get, it's like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, I shouldn't have been like, you know, you saying you wouldn't want to be the guy on Ellen or however you were, you know. I'm like, well, I know, like I put myself close to it, but I didn't need to be the guy that, like Corbin, for example. Corbin deserved that spot over me for not trying to tell my story in it, but I'm like, oh yeah, those dudes put in way more work. That was their goal. That was never. I just found it along the way and thought, okay, this is just what I do, you know? And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. Then it's like, because I was just so hard on myself for a while about it. I'm like, dude, why are you being hard? It wasn't even like a real goal of yours. It was just your surroundings.
Like, not forced, but
not forced. Yeah, you just fell into it in a way.
This is the path that everybody's doing. This is what I got to do, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And then when it takes a while, then you're like,
if you compare your goals to other people's goals, and you're like, that's not actually my goal.
Yeah, and it's only important about what your own is, right? Yeah.
And then so from Rio till now, like if we were to, I get asked every fucking clinic, every time I'm at a track, like, dude, why don't you just put clips on and go out there and try to win? I'm like, I don't have interest in that, and it's not to take anything away from the vet title or championship or anything.
Yeah,
it's like I could have honestly quit the sport after 4th place in Rio and been 100% content with everything I accomplished in sport. The hard part I had was going from Rio, and it was like limbo there because I didn't have a goal. So from Rio, like what I don't need to prove anything else in the sport. Like I'm beyond content. I'm with everything I've done. I'm respected. Potentially be in the Hall of Fame at some point, which is crazy. You know, like thinking now when you're racing, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in the Hall of Fame. You know, like fucking Harry Larry. You know, like But that's a big deal. You know,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
To be in the Hall of Fame for any sport or just in life, like that's a cool thing. But I didn't have once I accomplished make it to the final day in Rio. Like I raced 17, 18, 19, 20 with 0 goals and training aimlessly.
Just a hard place to be in.
Yeah, just going through the motions. But like, what am I doing? I knew like I'm not going to Tokyo. Like that was never a goal of mine. I didn't think I didn't have a goal to get a medal after Rio. Like I was completely proud of it. So that was a hard part of my career. It was just like I was just going through the motions. Like, give me my salary check. I'm paying to go to this race. I'm doing my squats when I get home. But it was, and I'm not saying that wasn't enjoyable because I love riding my bike. I've never taken a break from racing in my 27 years. I've never taken a summer off. I never take anything more than an injury that I had for maybe 6 weeks. I've never taken a break.
Yeah.
And even when I wasn't over the sport, but I had no reason to get up and train every day besides the bills I had to pay.
Yeah.
It was a weird mentality. And so that's when that goes back to how we started doing the clinic stuff, you know, and like, how do I how do I shift and be relevant to the sport that I love and be able to make other people love what we did, you know? Like, I want to see somebody else get to accomplish what I got to accomplish. Like, that's a cool thing, you know? And it took me a while to realize, like, all the shit I'd done was cool, you know? And, like, so now going to these, you know, some Midland, Texas track, full dirt track, grass turns, and you're like, dude, if you work hard enough and dream big, I say it at every clinic, you work hard enough and dream big enough, there's no reason you can't accomplish everything that I have, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, that's a cool thing to be able to say, because if that little fucking kid does it, he's like, man, I went to Nick Long's clinic, and he just said I could do it, and I did it, you know? But if I'm 50 years old and I hear somebody say that on the news when they win the Olympic gold medal, it's like that was cool, man. Like, I got to inspire somebody, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where it shifted to, like, now I love doing this. Like, even the amount of clinics I did last year, at the end of the day, when you're like, oh, I am burnt out. That was 100 clinics this year, plus races, plus training. When I get to December and it's like, yeah, I will do it all again.
Yeah.
Do every single one of those, the same day, same group of kids. And so it just kind of, it brought back a lot of joy to it, where it was like,
cool.
A lot of it was just going through the mode. Like nowadays, I'll get out and do sprints because I enjoy it, but I don't do any work that I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing to be able to work through the sport and earn what I did to be able to do what I do now. That's a cool transition.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, you can't really get on top of that big hill with no goal, right? Like,
no, that's a hard. Yeah, if you're just up there like, oh, I want to just
you're just here to be here. Like,
yeah, you gotta have something at the finish line that gets you there, you know.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be in, you know. Like some dudes haven't got there yet. Some dudes have experienced it, but yeah, when those final days being on the being at that level, it's like. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Like,
and then...
When I tried racing the couple World Cups in 2020 in Australia, I had no business being up there. I was like, yeah, I want to go to Australia. No, I don't want to race. Like, and then before we leave for the trip, everybody's like, yeah, both the tracks, you got to pedal through the transition. I'm like, I just spent a decade training. And I gotta fucking try to pedal through this now.
Dude, that blows my mind seeing that nowadays.
It's like the whole sport.
Don't miss that.
That's incredible. But like,
pedaling through it, you know, it's like
it's not there. That's like going full speed at the rhythm section. It's the same mentality to me. Like, how do you do that,
dude? Some dudes do it so smooth now. When we're doing the Camper Rock Hill, I'm just
like Cam.
Like I raced this hill, and I do not.
That transition is violent. Like,
I know. And you pedal through it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's super crazy. And like, but I'm happy that it's not me. Like, I don't have
yeah, dude.
I can't even think of in 2017. I remember in 2017 when I hurt my back at Atlanta. I went to the World Cup still because I was like funded. We flew from Atlanta from me blowing my back out. I'm like, yeah, I'll be good in 2 weeks. And I'm like, I don't want to be here at all. It was Papendal and another World Cup, and I'm like, oh, it's older. I didn't race any day. And I was like, my back hurts. I'm good. I had my out, and I'm like, I don't want to be up here anymore.
Yeah,
I was done then. And yeah, I just had to do it because of sponsors and obligations.
Yeah,
and, and it was just, but it was also
that can only last so long.
Yeah, it was also my life. I wasn't ready to do clinics and shit then, so I had to show up. Hopefully do as good as I can to make to the next one, but that's a hard mentality to race in.
And that's a whole nother conversation to have. I guess that's a small demographic of age group to listen to it, but like that transition from being a pro rider to adulthood.
And it's hard to think like it's hard to put yourself like going from whatever amount of respect you have, whether it's a first year pros or mine or yours, whatever level of respect you have out there, to go there and be like, I gotta go get a job. Like, I gotta go be the bottom of the totem pole somewhere.
Right.
Like that shift is, man, unless you were able to stay in school and you get to go right to the top of whatever field you're gonna do. It's a tough when you're getting called out for pro rollouts, and then you're like, fuck, my alarm's going off at 6. I gotta go dig holes. That's fucked. Like and it sucks when you work your whole career for something and then it's over. You know what I mean? And then it's worse for some people, like with injuries, and I get that. but it's hard for everybody when your time's up in your career. That blank page in front of you is like a big page to fill up, you know.
That's cool.
I'm happy it transitioned, and I earned whatever I was able to earn to make this happen. But
I know we've joked about it a few times. We got. I'm pretty sure I've joked about it with you, but we got degrees in this sport, right? So it's like to think about. I know some people just get over it and they just want to peace out. I'm done with BMX. My kids aren't doing that or whatever. It's crazy to me too. You know, it's like I see a couple other ones on still like old pros that still follow on Facebook.
I mean, I'll say a name like Herm and like Jet.
Yeah,
I love these guys, and it's like I couldn't imagine not even saying bye to the sport.
Yeah, you just peace out. You so much of your life.
That's
I'm like,
it's crazy.
I got a degree, and then like, let's find a way to keep this going.
Yeah,
you know, like at least.
No offense towards them, but it's
absolutely
crazy that it's like this. You're so respected, and you're not like you don't know when your last race is. Maybe that's the case sometimes.
Yeah,
but like Wheeler's got to say like, oh, this is my last race. Donnie, this is my last race. At least they made a little bit of a note that people were like, oh, cool. Like you get a little bit celebrated,
right?
And that like you kind of earn that. Like I feel like everybody, if you got some sort of pro career, even if you ain't even fucking good, when your time's up, you should be able to get an applaud on the way out. You know? And not that you need it, but I feel like riders like that, like us, like
not just Houdini.
Those guys want to know that it's the end of the day for us too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You spend all this time, you spend 10 years, 2 decades, whatever, building the name, and then saying.
Yeah. So when you can peace out and stay involved, it's sick.
It's huge. Like if you're able to transition it into a new career, whether it's working with USA BMX, like us being able to help out with USA Cycling, and or just doing our clinic, being well known enough and respected enough to be able to put on clinics where people know us around the country and world if we wanted to. That's basically like getting your degree.
Yeah, that's cool. And they always, it's funny because they always talk about how, like, in our sport growing up, it's like, oh, you ride a kid's bike and all this, and like, what's a career in that? I'm like, it's cool looking back, and if you could see all those people now, it's like,
you're still digging holes?
Yeah, like, no offense to any of them, but some of them, yeah. It's still digging those holes, huh? Yes, I am still riding a bike.
Yeah, the kids in high school are like, what is that going to take you, dude? Nerd?
Yeah.
You're a plumber?
Yeah. Yeah, no offense, but
besides
the few. Besides the few that can take it, right?
But no, it's cool to be able to, we spend our whole lives doing something.
Yeah.
And it would suck for it to end.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I don't see this show ending for me.
No.
I love this sport with everything I got. I love the people in it. I love the people I get associated. Like, I don't chat with people from my hometown. Like my phone book, my text messages, my everything is BMX. Like that's who I associate with. They're the only people I can have a conversation with. I can't go home. It's so hard to go home and be like, "That was work today.
Life. Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah, we've just been cutting aluminum, putting up the glass." Like, I don't know what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
But like I could have a conversation with anybody here. For the most part, as long as you're not driving me nuts, but
even if they do that,
even if they do that, I can still sit there and it's it's like it's fucking BMX.
They can relate with BMX.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I just hope. I'm trying not to ever be that dad that pushes. Man, I just hope Willow starts racing, even if she sucks. Like I just want to be at the race. I just can't wait to be that dad pushing up with this little girl with tassels or whatever the case, whatever goofball rider she ends up being, or not at all. It's like. And if she doesn't in the run, she's still going to be dragged to the BMX race. So that kind of sucks. Like, well, girl, so sorry.
This is how
you got soccer practice, well, we're going to BMX race.
Yeah.
Well, damn. What's next? We're in Oklahoma. How long you gonna? Or about an hour and a half. It was a pretty good one. I actually thought it was longer. I thought we would have gone longer already. What's next? You got full season. Obviously, you looking at the radar on settling anywhere and still doing clinics, still doing your thing, but just like having a home base.
Yeah. I mean, Lindsay and I, we chat about it. Like, oh, this is beautiful. Let's pull up and get a house here, But like, we're not there yet. I find myself thinking like, man, I need to buy a house somewhere, but honestly, this is my house. Like my
Right,
house
yeah.
parks at the fucking track. I don't know
Yeah.
how it gets better than that. But no, we do chat about figure out where it's gonna home base be. It goes back and forth between the Tulsa area because of how central it is, how easy it is. Like even just being here the last like 3 or 4 weeks, like we've had weekend clinics, and it's like I could jet up, do a weekend clinic every weekend from a place like this, and there's so many different tracks. I could go, leave a Friday and get 2 to 12 hours away pretty easily and do a clinic. Where that's hard some places. But we've also talked about northern central Florida, kind of where Jeremy lives. We spent some time out there with him and Will, and just peaceful. It was, like, it'd be cool if I could just park there and camp out between clinics or events, whatever. But nothing's in stone yet. We're just, working with Haro. We just got to be at every pro race, set up the pitch for Anthony Cam, and then we just get by getting clinics and seeing our BMX people everywhere, really. But besides that, it's as long as it's clear for weather, we're just happy to cruise,
That's cool.
We can get enough money doing clinics to fill up our gas tank. We'll show up to the next one. That's pretty much what it's about.
That's sick. Love it. All right. Well, we'll sign off now. It's exactly 10 o'clock.
All
So that was
right.
a good one. I look forward to having this one for a while. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. Until next time.
Until next
Good
time.
chatting as always. Love you, brother.
Always love you.
Well,
And if you got questions, send it to our DMs.
Yeah, send it on over the DMs. We answer them all. All right, now we're just gonna unprofessionally come over here and grab this camera off the hook and turn it around and say, "See ya. Have a good night."
Till next time.
And we can't find the buttons.
Hey, where's the button at?